Pete's Barrelhouse Rag. This will be the third variation, and we're going to start off with a regular C chord. So lots of rolls in this one. Again, the first C chord, just like we played the C chord in the first two verses. E. I throw in that C note there, just flattening out the first finger. Then I'm going to go for a walking bass, alternating sort of pedal tone with the A. So all I'm doing there is kind of a walking bass as you would play in a regular shuffle in A, but then playing the octave A note on the third string second fret in between each bass note. Okay. Then for the D chord, I'm again working with this walking bass but doing these rolls at the same time. So I'm taking what we call a tritone, the D7 chord. There's a tritone within the D7 chord, which has the F sharp note, which is the major third, and the flat 7 C. So if you take that much of the chord, you've really kind of established the seventh chord. And then I'm going to walk a bass with rolls, stuff that makes sense over a D chord. It's important when I do this little tritone thing that I do it with my ring finger and pinky, which allow my first finger to reach over to the second fret. Play B, F sharp, A, B, C. And then I'm going to do a series of rolls and walking bass over a G7 chord. So it's kind of like if you think of just a regular G7 chord, but I don't need the 6th and the 5th string, so I'm just going to start with the open 4th string and then walk up from D to E to F and then move that whole shape up to a 1 fret until I get one more fret up, and I'm going to make a G chord. Just a regular G chord based on like an E shape. So if I play that verse slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next verse, the 4th variation, I'm going to go back to this kind of this G-shaped version of a C chord. E, A. Play it again. We saw this in I think the second variation, one of the previous variations. Oops. Just doing the same thing I did. And then instead of playing the D7 chord, which I did in that previous variation, I'm going to come up to the 10th fret, bring my thumb over to the top to play my root D note, then do a G9 chord. So that's kind of this typical G ninth chord that if you played any kind of funk or jazzy blues or anything like that, you should be familiar with that chord. Middle finger on the 10th fret of the 5th string, first finger on the 9th fret of the 4th string, and the third finger barring the top 3 strings of the 10th fret. pinky reaching up to grab the 12th fret. And then back to C. Now there's a walk down, and this is where I kind of leave the normal chord changes I was using behind, and I get into more of this Reverend Gary Davis, Blind Blake kind of thing. So this would be in the tab titled the 5th variation, and more rolls. I like my rolls. You can kind of think of that as something like Hesitation Blues by Reverend Gary Davis. He doesn't do the roll thing. He does more. It's kind of a straight up alternating bass kind of thing. But so I'm playing with the idea a little bit with the rolls. Just back and forth between A minor and E. This next section, I'm going to go to F. And that's something, that's just a phrase, a 4-bar phrase that I take directly from a Blind Blake tune called Blind Arthur's Breakdown. If you don't know that song, check it out. He plays this exact same thing, which is the F. A flat 7, just like a regular, like an A7 played at the 2nd fret, but moved down 1 fret. Walking down from a C chord to an A chord, walking up. So it's walking down from C, walking up from A. D7. Regular old G7, and then C. So that verse slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next up, we'll get into the next variation, which would be the 6th variation.